Okay, guys and gals, in this video, I'm going to share the top 5 things that I love about my Alfa Romeo 4C as a Lotus Elise owner. You see, I'm not going to talk about the typical things like the carbon fiber tub, how amazing the exhaust sounds, how the car performs and handles compared to other cars. I use these cars as daily drivers, so I'm going to tell you what things I think are most important about the 4C, having lived with and daily driven a Lotus Elise for the past 8 years. You're not going to see my face during this video because I had total hip replacement surgery 5 days ago. But now that I'm officially a cyborg, beware.
What did you do to me? What have you done to me?
Besides, you don't want to look at my face, you want to look at this beautiful car. At some point in the future, I'll create some other top 5 videos to tell you what my absolute top 5 features of the Alfa Romeo 4C are, as well as my top 5 features for the Lotus Elise. Before we go over my top 5, I wanted to thank all of my YouTube subscribers, my Instagram followers, and all the great people over at Lotus Talk and 4C forums. They're a wealth of information and just great people to talk to about all things related to these great cars. I'd also really like to hear your opinion, so please let me know in the comments what are your top 5 features for the Alfa Romeo 4C, the Lotus Elise, or what are your least favorite things? Just tell me what you think. I might be able to use these as ideas for future content. So thanks in advance and enjoy the rest of the video. When I first test drove the Alfa Romeo 4C, I was struck by how similar it was to the Lotus Elise in so many ways. They're about the same size, similar weight, similar power to weight ratio, similar performance. They're both driver's cars. They are what you would call mini supercars. They're an incredible value for money, and they have unique construction and really evoke the passion that drivers have for their cars. Okay, without further ado, let's count them down. Number 5, automatic mode. The Alfa Romeo 4C has an amazing transmission. It allows you to do all kinds of things, including driving in manual mode using pedal shifters, or in automatic mode, which then drives just like any other automatic automobile. More stop and go traffic. Thank God for automatic drive mode in the Alfa Romeo 4C. If you've ever been stuck in traffic driving a stick shift, you'll know what I mean. Having the ability to switch into automatic mode anytime it's convenient is just a godsend. While I absolutely love driving a stick shift, it is very unforgiving of life's little infirmities. For example, for about 18 months, I was struggling with wicked tennis and golfer's elbow in my right arm. In order to get the Lotus into reverse gear, I had to use both my arms, and it was still excruciating. With the Alfa Romeo 4C, I just leave it in automatic mode and away I go. Number 4, the Alfa Romeo 4C does not require a gas cap. I remember clearly when I bought my Lotus Elise, the previous owner told me to beware of the gas cap because it didn't have any kind of tether to attach it to the vehicle, and he'd left several of these at gas stations and lost them. So his solution to that was just when he removed the cap, he would put it behind the window of the car so that even if he drove off, forgetting to replace it, he would still have it with him and wouldn't lose it. I don't know why Lotus decided they couldn't add a retention strap onto the gas cap. That weighs almost nothing. Every other car on the market has one. The Alfa Romeo 4C, on the other hand, has an absolutely ingenious gas filler. And I don't know why every car doesn't have it. It doesn't require a gas cap. Instead, they have a rubber gasket affixed to the gas filler door that provides the necessary seal. It might seem a minor thing, but to me, this is genius, and I love the attention to detail. As a bonus, Alfa Romeo has even embossed their logo on the inside of the gas filler. Number 3. Backup sensors. One of the things of owning an exotic car like the Lotus Elise or the Alfa Romeo 4C is that these cars are incredibly fragile, and any damage is extremely expensive to repair. Their bodies are made of a composite, so they don't dent, you can't pop dents. Instead, they crack. And in the case of the Lotus Elise, the car is really comprised of 2 big pieces. There's a front clam and a rear clam. The Alfa Romeo 4C has a separate bumper panel, but it's still very easy to damage and very expensive to repair. Oftentimes these cars are totaled when those panels are damaged. So having backup sensors in the Alfa Romeo 4C is extremely helpful, especially considering the limited view you have out the back of the car. Both of these cars have extremely small rear windows, and visibility is at a premium, so the backup sensors are extremely helpful. Number 2. Hill Assist. Hill Assist is a feature on the Alfa Romeo 4C. When you're stopped on an incline and remove your foot from the brake, it keeps the brake engaged for a full 2 seconds before releasing. This gives you time to shift your foot to the gas pedal. Hill Assist is not exclusive to Alfa Romeo or to the 4C. The first time I encountered it was on my 2012 Mini Cooper S, which had a manual transmission and stick shift. Hill Assist on the Alfa Romeo 4C is even smart enough to know if the incline you're on is steep enough to need Hill Assist or not. So if it's a mild incline, it will not engage. But if it's steep enough, the brake will remain engaged long enough for you to move your foot comfortably to the gas pedal. A feature like Hill Assist would have saved me many a small heart attack when I was sitting at a stoplight on a steep incline and some joker pulled up too close behind me. I was scared silly in the knowledge that if I rolled back even the slightest amount and bumped the rear of my car, it would be a $5,000 cost to replace the rear clam. Number one, the absolute top thing that I love about the Alfa Romeo 4C as a Lotus Elise owner is cruise control. You might be surprised to learn that the Lotus Elise does not have cruise control. If you don't have the luxury of a trailer and want to take one of these cars on a long trip, cruise control is absolutely crucial. Driving long miles on the highway without it is pure tedium and physically taxing. This spring, I drove my Lotus Elise to the Tail of the Dragon in western North Carolina. In the span of 36 hours, I calculated that I drove for 17 of those hours, and all that without cruise control. At least 12 of those 17 hours was just chugging along on the highway. When I got back to Raleigh, my ankle felt like I'd sprained it, and it took nearly a week to feel normal again. So that's it for those of you who love these mini supercars, the Alfa Romeo 4C and the Lotus Elise. These are my top 5 things that I love about my Alfa Romeo 4C as a Lotus Elise owner. Finally, I'd like to add an honorable mention. Although these cars have nearly identical shapes and sizes, and the door openings are also nearly identical in shape and size, the Alfa Romeo does have a few inches more height in the door opening, and that does make it easier to get in and out. You don't have to squinch yourself quite as much as you do when getting into and out of the Lotus Elise. So I love both cars, and I'll continue to drive both cars as long as I'm able to. But it has been fun comparing and contrasting them and thinking through, what priorities I have in terms of some of these differences and the creature comforts and my time of life and the things that are more or less important to me going forward.